Okay, get this. Scientists have finally grown a human notochord in a lab.
Wow.
It's a huge GE deal. Like,
Yeah,
seriously huge.
I can imagine.
And you want to know why? Trust me. So, first things first, have you ever heard of a notochord?
Well, you can think of it as kind of like the backbone's backbone.
Okay, I like that.
Early on, when we're just embryos, this rod-shaped structure, it appears, and basically it directs how our spine, like our entire nervous system, forms.
It's wild. So it's like uh, our body's first GPS,
Yeah,
setting everything up in the right place.
yeah.
And scientists have been trying to grow one in a lab for decades.
It's been a long time coming.
Because, well, imagine the possibilities, right? Like understanding how our spines form, maybe even fixing problems before they even start.
Exactly.
The potential is huge.
Huge EE. It's been like the missing piece for so long in stem cell research.
Oh, really?
But researchers at the Francis Crick Institute, they seem to have, they've cracked the code.
So what was the secret sauce? What was the magic trick? How did they finally pull it off?
Well, it turns out it all boils down to, timing.
Timing.
They carefully studied embryos, chicken, mouse, and even monkey to map out, the precise signals that tell cells to become the notochord.
So they were looking for the instructions?
Yeah, the instructions. It's not just about having the right molecules. It's about when those molecules, show up on the scene.
Okay, so it's like a recipe where you have to add ingredients in a specific order.
Exactly.
Okay.
Previous attempts might have messed up the timing. And, that's why they couldn't grow proper notochord.
That makes a lot of sense. So what did they actually grow in the lab? Is it like a mini spine?
Well, they call them notoroids. Basically, lab-grown tissues packed with notochord cells.
Notoroids. I like it.
Yeah. And the crazy part is they're incredibly similar to the notochords you'd find in, a developing embryo.
I read they even grow longer on their own.
Yeah, they do.
Just like a real notochord would. That's wild.
It is. They managed to grow them up to a couple of millimeters long.
Wow.
And the success rate was seriously impressive.
Okay, but are these notoroids just a copycat in terms of looks, or do they actually function like the real deal?
Well, here's where it gets even cooler.
Okay.
They don't just, look the part, they act the part. These lab-grown notochords, they send out signals that organize the tissues around them.
Whoa.
Just like a notochord does in an embryo.
So it's not just a model, it's like a working model. That's amazing.
It is.
What does this all mean for, the bigger picture?
Right.
This has to open up a ton of research opportunities, right?
Absolutely. This is a major, major step forward in understanding how our spine and, our nervous system develop. It's like having a blueprint in hand that we can study in detail.
So we can see how things are supposed to go right and then figure out what happens when they go wrong.
Yeah.
Like with conditions like spinal bifida.
Yeah.
You got it.
And not just birth defects.
Yeah.
But think about all the things that can go wrong with our spines as we age. This research could be, game-changing for those conditions, too.
Speaking of which, does this have anything to do with, back pain? I know that's a problem for a lot of people, myself included.
Well, you might be surprised to learn this, but the notochord is actually the precursor to those discs between our vertebrae.
Really?
The ones that cushion our spines.
Yeah.
And those discs are often the culprit behind back pain.
Interesting.
As we get older, they can wear down and cause all sorts of problems.
Wow, I had no idea that there was a connection there. So if we can figure out how to keep those discs healthy or even grow new ones,
Exactly.
that would be incredible.
This research could pave the way for treatments that target, the root cause of back pain, not just mask the symptoms.
This is mind-blowing stuff. I never thought I'd be so fascinated by something called a notochord.
It's truly a remarkable structure.
It is.
And there's more. This research also revealed new information about a protein called YAP. It seems to be the key player in making sure genes get activated at the right time and place when tissues are forming.
So it's like YAP is the conductor, making sure the whole orchestra is in sync.
Perfect analogy.
Okay.
And this discovery could have implications far beyond the notochord. It might change how we think about tissue development in general.
So this one breakthrough is having ripple effects all over the scientific world.
It is.
Wow.
And we're just getting started with exploring all the possibilities.
I bet.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, it's important to acknowledge that there's still, a lot we don't know.
Right.
While these notoroids are impressive, there's still simplified versions of what happens in a real embryo.
So more research is needed before we see this translate into treatments for people.
Exactly. But we've unlocked a door that was previously closed. Now we can start exploring what's on the other side.
And I'm definitely curious to see what we find. Before we go down that road, can we take a closer look at how this research was actually done? Like, what were some of the standout moments in their process and findings?
Sure. What's really impressive is how they combined meticulous observation with clever experimentation. They started by observing chicken embryos,
Okay.
using some really sophisticated techniques to identify, which genes were active in different cells at different times.
So they basically created a detailed roadmap of how a notochord naturally forms.
Right. And then they use that roadmap to guide their experiments in the lab.
Okay.
They tried different combinations and timings of those molecular signals, blocking certain pathways at specific moments to see what would happen.
Oh, so through trial and error, they eventually hit upon like the perfect recipe for growing a notochord in a dish.
You got it.
That's fantastic.
It's a perfect example of how basic science and applied science can work, hand in hand.
And the results were pretty remarkable. Not only did they grow notochord tissue with a high success rate,
Yep.
but they proved that these lab-grown structures were, like, functional.
Yeah.
They weren't just inert copies. They were actively, like, influencing the development of surrounding tissues, just like a notochord would in a developing embryo.
Exactly. What sets this research apart is that they didn't just create a structure that looks like a notochord. They recreated the intricate biological processes that drive its formation and function.
It's like they bottled the essence of notochord development.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it unlocks incredible opportunities for studying human development and disease in ways we couldn't have imagined before.
This is all so fascinating, but I'm also wondering about the potential limitations of this research. Are there any things we should be cautious about?
Well, it's always important to, be realistic about the next steps.
Right.
While these notoroids are incredibly sophisticated, they're still simplified versions of what happens in a developing embryo. They're smaller. They lack some of the complex interactions with other tissues.
Right.
And the research relied heavily on chicken embryos for the initial mapping, even though the key findings were validated in, other species.
So there's still more work to be done before we see these discoveries translated into treatments for patients.
Absolutely. But this research has laid a crucial foundation.
Okay.
It's like we finally found the key to unlock a door that's been closed for far too long. Now we can step inside and explore the incredible potential that lies within.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already. We've seen how scientists managed to grow a human notochord in a lab, and we've touched on some of the exciting possibilities that this opens up for understanding spinal development and treating conditions like back pain. But there's so much more to explore.
Welcome back to our deep dive into this groundbreaking notochord research.
It's amazing to think that something as seemingly simple as like this little rod-shaped structure could hold so many secrets about how our bodies work.
Yeah, it really highlights the elegance and complexity of nature's design.
One of the things that really struck me in the last part was how this research could revolutionize our understanding of the spine and nervous system.
Absolutely. It's like the notochord is the conductor of an orchestra, guiding the development of all the surrounding tissues, the vertebrae, the spinal cord, even the nerves that branch out from the spine.
So by studying how the notochord does its thing, we can gain insights into like the whole intricate process of how our spines develop.
Precisely. And this knowledge could be key to understanding what goes wrong in various spinal conditions, from those present at birth, like spina bifida, to those that develop later in life, like scoliosis.
And it's not just about understanding the problems, right? It's about finding solutions.
Right.
This research opens up some really exciting possibilities for developing new therapies for these conditions.
Absolutely. Imagine being able to, step in early on and correct a spinal defect before it even has a chance to cause problems.
Wow. Or even being able to regenerate damaged spinal tissue in adults who have suffered injuries or have degenerative diseases.
Those are some of the ambitious goals that researchers are now pursuing, all thanks to this breakthrough.
It's almost hard to believe that we might one day be able to, like, repair spinal cords.
Yeah.
Or even grow new vertebrae.
It sounds like science fiction, but The progress being made in regenerative medicine is truly remarkable.
And speaking of regenerative medicine, let's talk about the potential for treating something that I know a lot of our listeners are personally familiar with: intervertebral disc degeneration.
Ah, yes, the source of many aches and pains.
Exactly. As we discussed earlier, the notochord is actually the precursor to those discs that cushion the vertebrae in our spines.
Right.
And as we age, those discs often wear down, causing pain, stiffness, making it harder to move around freely. It's one of the most common reasons people end up seeking medical help.
And for a long time, treatment options have been limited to, managing the pain, doing physical therapy, and in severe cases, resorting to surgery.
But this research offers like a glimmer of hope for a completely different approach, a regenerative one.
Exactly. By understanding how the notochord develops into those intervertebral discs, researchers are hoping to find ways to actually stimulate the regeneration of damaged discs.
So instead of just trying to manage the symptoms, we could potentially address like the root cause of the problem.
That's the idea. Imagine being able to inject a therapeutic agent into a damaged disc that could trigger its self-repair.
Or even being able to like grow new discs in a lab and then transplant them into patients.
Those are some of the exciting possibilities that are now on the table.
This all sounds incredibly promising, but I'm curious about the timeline. Like, how long do you think it will be before we start seeing these kinds of therapies available to people who need them?
That's a tough question to answer. It really depends on a lot of factors, including the pace of research, getting regulatory approvals, and securing funding.
So it's safe to say we're still in the early stages of this journey.
We are, but the important thing is that the foundation has been laid, and the momentum is building.
And in the meantime, are there other ways that this research could benefit people?
Absolutely. One area with huge potential is drug development.
Hmm.
Being able to grow human notochord tissue in the lab gives researchers an invaluable tool for testing new drugs and therapies, specifically designed for spinal conditions.
So instead of relying on like animal testing or computer models, they can use these lab-grown tissues to get a much more accurate picture of how a drug will affect human cells.
Exactly. This could significantly speed up the drug development process and bring new treatments to patients faster.
That's fantastic. What about personalized medicine? Could this research play a role there?
Absolutely. Imagine being able to create a mini notochord from a patient's own cells and use it to test different treatment options, seeing which one would be most effective for that individual.
It's like having a custom-made roadmap for treating their specific spinal condition.
That's the whole idea behind personalized medicine. Tailoring treatments to each patient's unique needs and characteristics.
And as we learn more about the genetics and molecular underpinnings of these conditions, the potential for personalized therapies will just continue to grow.
It's an exciting time to be following this field.
It really is. But with all this potential, I'm sure there are also challenges and limitations to this research. What are some of the hurdles that researchers are still facing?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is simply the sheer complexity of the notochord and how it interacts with all the surrounding tissues.
It's not just a simple rod, right? It's a dynamic structure that plays multiple roles throughout development.
Exactly, and trying to recreate that level of complexity in a lab setting is a massive undertaking.
And of course, we can't forget about the ethical considerations we touched on earlier.
Absolutely, we need to ensure that this technology is used responsibly and ethically, and that any benefits are distributed fairly
Hmm.
and don't exacerbate existing inequalities in healthcare.
It's a good reminder that scientific progress should always go hand in hand with thoughtful ethical reflection.
I completely agree. As we continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible, it's crucial to engage in open and honest discussions about the potential impact of our discoveries.
Well said. Now, I'd I'd love to shift gears a bit and talk about the broader implications of this research for our understanding of human development as a whole.
I'm happy to. While the focus of this particular study was on the notochord, the findings have implications for our understanding of how tissues organize themselves and develop in general.
It's like a window into the fundamental processes that shape our bodies from like the very beginning.
Exactly, and one of the key insights from this research is the importance of timing in development.
As we discussed earlier, it's not just about the presence of certain molecules, but about when and where they appear during the process.
Right, and this discovery has implications for understanding a wide range of developmental processes, not just the formation of the notochord.
And it also underscores the crucial role of the YAP protein in coordinating gene activation during tissue development.
Right. This protein acts like a master conductor, making sure that genes are turned on and off at precisely the right moments to ensure that tissues develop correctly.
And this knowledge could have implications for understanding like a wide range of other developmental processes, as well as diseases like cancer, where gene regulation goes awry.
It just goes to show that even seemingly small discoveries can have far-reaching consequences.
It's a testament to the power of curiosity-driven research.
Absolutely. Sometimes the most groundbreaking discoveries come from simply asking questions and following the evidence wherever it leads.
Well, our exploration of the notochord has certainly led us down a fascinating path today.
It has been a captivating journey. As we wrap up this segment, I'm struck by the sheer potential of this research to transform not only our understanding of the human body, but also our ability to treat diseases and improve lives.
It's a real testament to the ingenuity and dedication of the scientists who are working tirelessly to push the boundaries of knowledge.
And it's a reminder that the journey of scientific discovery is never truly over. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to achieve.
Beautifully said. Now, get this, in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore some of those future possibilities. We'll consider the ethical considerations we've touched on and discuss the potential impact this research could have on society as a whole. That's going to be a grand finale you won't want to miss.
I'm looking forward to delving into those aspects with you.
Right. Welcome back to our final part. Our deep dive into this revolutionary notochord research. And, we've covered so much already, like from the intricate details of how a notochord develops to the incredible potential for treating spinal conditions and even gaining a deeper understanding of human development as a whole. But now it's time to look ahead to the future. What's next for this exciting field of research?
Well, I think the most pressing question now is how to translate these amazing laboratory findings into real world therapies that can actually help people.
Right, because as cool as it is to grow a notochord in a dish, the ultimate goal is to use that knowledge to make a real difference in people's lives.
Exactly, and that's where things get really tricky.
What are some of the obstacles that need to be overcome?
Well, one of the first hurdles is figuring out how to scale up the production of these lab-grown notoroids. Right now, they're mostly being used for research purposes.
But if we want to use them for therapies, we'd need to be able to produce them on a much, much larger scale.
Exactly.
And it would have to be, like, cost-effective, too.
Exactly. Another big challenge is ensuring that any therapies developed from this research are both safe and effective.
That makes sense. Just like with any new medical treatment, there are always potential risks and unknowns that have to be, like, carefully considered.
Absolutely. Rigorous clinical trials will be essential to make sure that these therapies are safe and actually work for patients.
And those trials take, like, time, funding, and a lot of careful planning.
They do, but the potential rewards are huge. If we can harness the power of this research, it could completely change how we treat spinal conditions. We might even be able to prevent some of these conditions altogether.
Now that would be incredible, and it's not just about treating existing conditions. It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know about human development.
You're right. By studying the notochord, we're gaining fundamental insights into the very processes that shape our bodies from the earliest stages.
And that knowledge could have, like, implications for so many different fields,
Yeah.
from regenerative medicine to developmental biology and beyond.
It's like opening a door to a whole new world of possibilities.
It's exciting and a little bit daunting at the same time.
Mm.
So what are some of the specific areas that scientists are focusing on right now in notochord research?
Well, there's a lot of research going on to really understand the molecular mechanisms behind a notochord development. The more we know about how it forms, the better equipped we'll be to manipulate it for therapeutic purposes.
It's like learning the language the cells
Sure.
speak so we can, like, give them instructions.
That's a great way to put it. Scientists are using, cutting edge techniques like gene editing and single cell analysis to dissect these complex molecular pathways.
That's amazing. And once we have those instructions figured out, we still need to figure out the best way to deliver them, right?
Exactly. Getting the treatment to the right place in the body is just as important as the treatment itself. Researchers are exploring different ways to deliver these therapies, like injections, implants, and even gene therapy.
Wow, it's like a race to find the most effective and safest way to harness the power of the notochord.
And it's a race that could have a huge impact on the lives of millions of people around the world.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into this fascinating topic, what excites you the most about the future of notochord research?
For me, it's the potential to alleviate suffering.
Yeah.
Spinal conditions can be so debilitating and life-altering. The idea that we might one day be able to prevent or even reverse these conditions is incredibly inspiring.
I totally agree. It's been an amazing journey exploring this world with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
So if you could leave our listeners with one final thought, what would it be?
I'd say this. The notochord, this seemingly simple structure, holds the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of human development and a future where spinal conditions might become a thing of the past.
It really highlights the power of scientific curiosity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. And to our listeners, keep that sense of curiosity alive. Who knows what other groundbreaking discoveries are waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.